theme on the vlog. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about burnout. And what that means for creatives is usually a death knell. But when you're taking on so much, it eventually can lead and has led to burnout. I started feeling this way a little bit after finishing the third installment in my A Time of Dragons fantasy series. Something upon finishing that all of a sudden flipped the gears in my head, and I don't know if I was just gunning towards this finish line and then became completely exhausted, same way an athlete would after training for so many years, and then you finally reach your goal, you get exhausted. That's why a lot of the times athletes, and I know this from experience, we're always looking for that next competition because you want to stay perpetually ready rather than coming down and then getting, going back up. You're chasing that high, in other words. So maybe it's a similar thing in writing, but I didn't have anything on tap. I do. I have plenty of ideas left. It's just that that was an undertaking. That was an epic. Not. I wouldn't call it an epic because it's not over 300 pages, but it was sword and sorcery adventure fantasy, which I haven't done in a long time, and it takes a little bit more doing than contemporary. But what I wanted to relate to everyone out there, especially my fellow writers, burnout is real. So when you've got so many things going on, and I know a lot of you have families that you're also trying to juggle. I know I have a 9-to-5 job. I'm taking on this project as well as my fantasy books. So a lot of irons in the fire. You can get exhausted. It gets exhausted mentally. You feel drained. You feel, I guess some of the signs are irritability. You lose interest in things, which I've noticed. Like I said, I have things on tap. I just don't feel like getting to them. And that's okay. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, is that it's okay to take a break when you're feeling burnt out. Because, if you keep pushing forward when you're in that mental space, it's not good. You're going to break down in other ways. Like, I'm starting to feel it physically also. My back and hips and everything else is starting to feel it also. So what you want to do is take time for yourself and address the burnout. So some of the things that I do, or I am doing now to address it, is being able to say, oh, it's okay. I know as creatives, we are our own hardest driving force because we want things to be done in a specific way at a specific time. We are the masters of our own fate. We're in control of all of it. So especially when something goes out of our control, it can lead to stress and, eventually cause more burnout. But so when those things start to rear their ugly head, it's important to take a step back and reassess, and then reset and go again. So some of the things that I like to do when this happens is, like I said, push pause. Basically, you're like pushing pause on the movie you're watching, the TV show, and you'll get back to it later. It's not going anywhere. It'll be there. I know that I have self-imposed deadlines for myself, but it's okay to move the goalposts sometimes if you need to. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. Because when you mentally burn out, especially as a writer or another creative, when you mentally burn out, you cannot produce anymore. So it's the same, again, it's the same as, when an athlete is trying to perform physically and they can't, because they're drained. Their energy's drained. They've suffered injury from training too hard. They're exhausted. And that actually has happened to me before. I was training for a fitness competition, and it was just a grueling couple of weeks. I was dieting down. I had no energy. So my mood went sour to the point where my training partners saw it, and they told me to go home. Told me to take a few days because I was just not having it. And like I said, it affects your mood, and you become a different person. You start snapping at everybody. Things that you once enjoyed, you don't enjoy them, and you just, you might start turning to methods that are not so good for you to placate those feelings. But, excess food, drink, or drugs is not going to help you. So again, what I do, I like to work out. When you go and you do something physical that is not your mind having to focus on things, you can really just get in tune with your body doing the workout. It helps. It helps to well, at least for me, it helps you to recenter, and then you can come back refreshed, like I said, to your other tasks. Because it might seem counterintuitive, but when you work out, you actually get more energized. It's not that it's in the moment you feel exhausted, but it actually increases your endorphins, and so you start to it starts to clear the fog from your brain, that you're feeling from all the weight of everything coming down on you. And it doesn't even have to be weight training like I enjoy. Like yoga is great, Pilates, swimming, get out in nature and hike. Things like that can help you to really just spend time with yourself, and like I said, push away all the worries or whatever it is that's weighing down on you, that's making you feel like you're burnt out. So it's important to find activities like that you can enjoy, and juices you back up. So those things actually, they go hand in hand, and the more you ignore the physical aspects of your career, the more it's going to start going onto a downward trajectory, because you no longer have the energy and the passion that you had originally to put into this. And for one, I want you guys to have career longevity. I mean, we need more artists out there in the world. And when I say artists, who I'm talking about: writers, graphic designers, painters, tattoo artists, whatever vocation that it is that you enjoy. We need you, because too many remakes. We need originality, and to get originality, you need energy. So that's my message to you, is to take time for yourself to reset and refocus and re-energize, so you can get back into the creative productivity, that first spark. You remember that first spark of the idea, whether it was an outline of a novel, or you saw an image on the canvas that you wanted to paint. I've been seeing some amazing woodworkers on Instagram. Oh my goodness. These people, I don't even know how they do what they do, but it's amazing 3D art. Let's get back into the theme of today, which is burnout, with our gritty middle success story. Born on June 23rd, 1964 in New York City, Joss Whedon is the son of Tom Whedon, a screenwriter for the TV series Alice in the 1970s and The Golden Girls in the 1980s. Whedon stated that his parents expected constant creativity from their children and were often verbally demeaning. Starting at age 15, he spent 3 years at Winchester College, a boarding school in England. There, taking note of the constant bullying, he concluded, "It was clear to me from the start that I must take an active role in my survival." Whedon stated that he suffers from complex post-traumatic stress disorder and cited these early childhood traumas as having a direct influence on his relationships, addictions, and behaviors into adulthood. So Whedon wrote the poorly received horror comedy film Buffy the Vampire Slayer in 1992, which he later adopted into the acclaimed television series of the same name. He co-wrote and produced the horror comedy film Cabin in the Woods in 2012. 2012 is also when Whedon joined the juggernaut of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, when he wrote and directed The Avengers, and its sequel, Avengers: Age of Ultron. Although Whedon once helped build up the Marvel brand, eventually he had to part ways with the studio. According to Whedon, his departure was mostly due to burnout rather than creative differences. Whedon devoted a good chunk of his time to the Marvel Universe and simply thought it was time to focus on other projects or be doomed to repeat himself. In 2013, Whedon said that he is a workaholic. "It is actually a problem," he said. "Sometimes it's adorable and sometimes it's not. Not to get all dark and weird, but it is something I need to address." All right, now that we heard all about Joss and how he got from A to B, got through that gritty middle and his accomplishments, I have an action tip for you, should you choose to accept it. Because this is all about burnout today, I wanted to have you write down 2 to 3 ideas that you can do to decompress. And that means when the stresses are overwhelming, what is it that you do to just take a minute, pause, reset. It can be anything from, like I said, working out, taking a hot bath. I like to play video games. You could go swimming. Whatever it is for you that you like to do. Some people like to cook. Just make sure it's constructive. Don't tell yourself that you're gonna eat a lot of chocolate or drink a lot of beer to get back to a stable place in your head, because those are over here in the negative column. So write down a couple of things that you can do for yourself to rejuvenate your energy anytime you're feeling burnt out. I'm going to start dishing these out monthly. So any comments or questions you have, leave them below. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you next time.